I'm not a doctor so far, by the way.
Sorry?
I'm not a doctor yet.
Oh, that okay. Would you like me to say Master Malik? Okay, that's okay.
You
Uh,
are better than many, Mr. Fayyad.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Tamimi. Dr.
Fayyad Allah.
Tamimi was my colleague and a very nice friend, very nice person, very
Thank you.
nice human being.
It's very wholesome. Thank you for being in this space. Thank you very much. All right, good morning and good afternoon, everybody again, and thank you for coming. I'm really excited. My name is Ella Abdel Ghaffar or Ella Abdel Ghaffar. I'm going to be the moderator today instead of Lamia. She has a conference to attend to. I'm very happy to be in this space. I'm very excited for the conversation and to learn more about the topic itself, AI and plagiarism, when it comes to English language instruction and teaching as well. To introduce our speaker and guest speaker today, Fayaz Malik is a seasoned English language teaching professional with 2 decades of experience dedicated to enhancing English language skills, specializing in writing, technical English, and English for specific purposes. He has also empowered countless of learners, currently serving as the vice president of Casalt TESOL and actively managing its Riyadh chapter. He has presented at English language teaching platforms, including TESOL Arabia, Interlink Professional Development Weeks, and Al Yamama University, TSDC, and SPELT in Pakistan, and Casalt or KSAALT, TESOL, sharing his expertise and contributing to the advancement of English language teaching. Today, Fayaz Malik is going to talk to us or share his expertise with us on artificial intelligence and plagiarism when it comes to English language instruction and also English writing. Thank you very much. Fayaz Malik, you can share the screen and start the presentation whenever you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you so much for this very nice and generous introduction. I hope you can see my screen, and here
Mhm.
I go for screen now. Perfect, perfect. So today, I will be sharing some of my experiences and what I've learned during last 6 and so months about AI and plagiarism and academic integrity. So I would like to share this image of Time magazine. It appeared, I think, 1998 or 1997, 90, or 93 somewhere. Now, this was actually when I was a student, my professor shared that with me. The title says "The Empire Writes Back." This was the time when a lot of people in England realized that more and more people from their former colonies are writing back in English. But now it's a different time. So I think that now Time Magazine should consider printing another issue like this. I generated it with the help of Gemini, and now machines are writing back to us. So the flow has changed. Flow of content, flow of ideas, flow of information. Now it is from machines to us. Let's talk about it in more detail. And here is the plan. So we'll start with ethical considerations of AI use in language learning, and then how AI-powered tools impact student autonomy and critical thinking. And then we'll move on to, I'll just touch upon the translation and paraphrasing tools later in my presentation. And later we will go to how we can distinguish between AI generated and human written text. And then what strategies we can have, we can apply, we can adopt to foster academic integrity while integrating AI into teaching. And then finally, I will talk about responsible AI integration, alternative assessment methods, and a little bit about institutional policies. Uh, Before I start, I would like to talk about 3 important concepts that are related to learners' autonomy. The first one is mediation. The second one is student agency. And the third one is text construct. Why I want to start with that? Because these three are the basics of like how students conceptualize ideas, how they do ideation, how they go through the process of ideation, and how they prepare for that, and how they make sense of the text and the world around them. So let's start with mediation first. It's actually a process of making meaning and facilitating communication beyond linguistic and cultural barriers. Right, and like like we mediate between text, concepts, and communication, and people. So, what learners do in language class, they mediate when they discuss how to approach a task, think together, explain something to teammates, take notes, or information from the web, from their books, from their lectures, and then they relate it within the context to understand the text, and then how they explain it to others, or help someone who does not understand. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to bridge a gap in communication. And when they do that, what do they do? They try to move beyond text. So they gather everything together and they try to make a meaning out of it. And the communication goal is to build trust, like to build trust with their teammates, with the text that they're reading, with the communication process, and with what do? They intake everything to create a meaning out of it, whether it is their emotional state, cultural context in which they're living and in which they're reading, or the cultural context which is in the reading or in the writing task. And they also build conceptual trust among themselves, with the teacher, with the task. And then we have to look at this concept. What is text? A text is a living, breathing intent or a purpose of writer, which he or she wants to convey to others. So the text constructs the pattern of intent, whether you want to inform someone, whether you want to entertain your reader, to warn, win, convince, change someone's minds, or to tell or share anything with other people, with your readers, with the outside world. So this text construct is actually unconscious understanding of the purpose of writing that a writer like you and me have in our minds. Maybe like, what is the purpose behind that? Is behind that letter, behind that story, a book, a message, a research paper, a note, a medical report, a news report, whatever. So this is the text, and this is the text construct, which represents not only the writer, but his or her context. It comes out of a context for a reader to decode and respond, because it has to be shared. There needs to be someone who reads it, who appreciates it. The last thing is learner's agency. Learner's agency is the environment or a kind of feeling where learners feel empowered. So when they feel empowered, they're actively engaged in different stages: thinking, planning, modifying, and creating. And then they are, it's an environment which makes the learners free to actively involve in discussions, question and answer, self-directed learning, and creating. So they apply this freedom to understand the concepts, whether it comes from reading, whether it comes from discussion, whether it comes from the teacher or text. And then they make connection with the real world with the help of their concept creation, understanding of the text. So they haven't, and then it goes beyond the text. So in the real world, they have an active voice. They have a stake in the classroom, in the community, because we're through discussions, through question and answer, through interaction. Like these are, it is a quality of a learner where the learner takes risks. The learner asks questions. If he doesn't understand anything, he can like go forward and uh, ask anything about that or explain it in his or her own way. Reflection is another part of that, of learner's agency. So uh, with these three concepts, mediation, text construct, and learner's agency, what we have. Now, with all these three things explained or combined in a classroom, in a language classroom, the end result is a complete understanding of a text, instruction, and then creation of a written text, which is based on which is based on learner's understanding and the whole context which has been created, both mutual context that has been created mutually by the learner and the teacher. So with these things clear in our mind, now it's easy for us to move on to what AI does, all these three things, or to the overall impact of learning. Before going to the question of plagiarism and AI's role in it, I would like you to have a look on this one. This is a graph which shows that like how different kind of words, specific kind of words, have started appearing and increasing in number in occurrence in academic journals, in academic submissions, and abstracts. So this is the analysis, 14 million abstracts. So look at this number here. So the word which are particularly related to AI, like delve, leverage, strive for, something like that, they have spiked. They have spiked in occurrences in different kinds of writing, especially in higher education. Sorry, higher education texts which are submitted formally for publications. So it gives us an idea that how AI is being used to create these kind of text. The purpose of which actually is to share the research. So now we can either move to what are the traditional ideas about plagiarism. What is our traditional understanding of plagiarism and its kind? First of all, it's global plagiarism. When somebody takes the whole text, the entire text written by another person and presents it as one's own. Next one is verbatim plagiarism, like directly copying someone else's words. Then paraphrasing plagiarism, rephrasing someone else's ideas without giving credit. And the patchwork plagiarism, taking different parts from different sources and putting them together and presenting it as something new. Of course, without referencing, without credit. And self-plagiarism, like somebody is recycling one's own previous work without considering different context, different topic, how things change in different ways, in a different course, in a different assignment. So somebody is repeating one's own work, which once has been successfully submitted, and that person thinks that now it can be presented again later in another course. Later, we are going to see that these common types of plagiarism and these ideas maybe not going to work anymore in the new situation that we are in these days, that is AI-generated texts. So there are two Basically, there are two concepts, there are two views about plagiarism with AI. The first one was developed around 2021 by Dr. Sarah Elaine Eaton. She's from Calgary, Canada. She had a different idea, and since 2021, her definition of post-plagiarism within the context of AI is catching attention. Is like more and more people are like, and these days are talking about it. So what she says, um, so he actually starts with hybrid human AI writing, and he says that it's going to be the norm. Within the next few years, it's going to be normal. Just like we take information from Google, this kind of writing where AI and human text or human creativity is combined. So, and then like he says that within the next few years, it will be pointless or the wastage of time to find out where the AI contribution ends and where the human element starts in an assignment, in a research project. Further, she says that as a result of artificial intelligence and its involvement and its engagement in language classes and in the text that we are creating these days, it's actually it's enhancing human creativity. So we are getting inspired by AI, and more people are actually inspiring others by creating this hybrid kind of text. And the like the way human imagination is being spurred or is working, it's there's not going to be any limit. It's boundless. It's going to be boundless. The third point, the third tenet of her philosophy is that a time will come when language barriers will disappear. So L1 and the barriers of L1 are going to be they're going to disappear. So AI is going to help more and more people to understand each other by creating texts which are less complicated, which are more, more explicit in their meaning, in their organization. So there will be very less chances that people misunderstand each other and each other's ideas in writing, especially because of the impact of their L1. The last one, sorry, not the last one, the next one is that when we write with the AI, we can relinquish some control, but not responsibility. So we must. She says that we can give some control or a lot of control to AI to generate ideas and concepts, but we must remain accountable for our fact checking, verification process, truth telling, and she says that it works on both sides. The tech companies which are creating and developing these AI tools, they are responsible for that. And the people who are using, the end users, they're also responsible for what they create with the help of AI. Next point. So, on the base of these four tenets, her fifth one is that historical definition of plagiarism, which I just explained in the last slide, is going to be, obsolete. So it's not going to be applied anymore. Because of artificial intelligence, they will be like, the historical definition will be like, the text will be transcendent, policy definition can and must adapt. And finally, he says that He says that like attribution, giving credit, and like the way we give credit to the original sources, that should remain there. So, and she says that like it will remain appropriate and desirable to appreciate, admire, respect our teachers, mentors, guides, and what we learn from each other, what we learn from books, authors, writers. So, as a result of that, citing, referencing, and attribution remain important skills. So this idea is catching up with a lot of people, and we are going to see it in the next slide, that how it is going to have an impact. So, but before we go to these two types of these two concepts about plagiarism with AI, let's have a look on concerns. So, easy access. AI tools have now easy access. There have been like a lot of tools now available. And because of this easy access, the students are getting rid of academic stress. So like the stress that they feel because of teachers, because of due dates, deadlines, it's going away because AI can create text within seconds. However, use of AI in academic activities raises serious ethical concerns that like and these concerns are about academic integrity. What is that? So it is the expectation that teachers, students, researchers, and academic community act with honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. So here the first thing that suffers because of over-reliance on AI tools is the critical thinking skills. And in the long run, AI tools may undermine the quality of academic qualifications offered by institutes. So if there is no check, if there is no check and balance, like the reputation of the organizations may go down. Second set of concern. As we have seen that AI is quick, it gives a whole essay or a piece of writing within seconds. What is the result? The result is instant gratification that it gives to a student, it gives to a person who is working with AI, and it eliminates hard work. Now, having quick answers can hamper the critical thinking skills, like creation of ideas, how to generate ideas, reasoning, how to compare, classify things, synthesize, predict, and deduct the conclusions. So when these skills are eroded, when these skills, like, step by step, with every next attempt of work with AI, when these skills are eroded, there can be serious issues to performance later in life, at the workplace, and towards the, in the broader sense of creativity. So yeah, another point is that assignments, projects, and texts that these which are created with the help of AI, they give a false sense to the students of overconfidence without understanding, without understand the underlying concepts and larger connections with other areas of the topics, the skills. So the large part of this overconfidence has never been tested by students because they have never put it to work from the scratch. It is quick generation of text. Sometimes students even, and a lot of people, they don't even, review it. And they just, because it has been done quickly, so they want to submit it quickly, or they want to put it into use quickly. And it can have serious effects. I would like to use here one example. Like one of my colleagues, he generated a paragraph with the help of AI just 5 minutes before the class was going to be started. The class was early beginners, and he didn't have time. He didn't have time to check what is in the text. But and he prepared a few copies of it. When he took it to the class and he saw that it was a narrative paragraph, but with high-flying language, with multi-syllable words, which were completely unsuitable for those beginners. This can happen. And I think a lot of you might have seen such incidents. So the last set of concern is here. So independent thought, independent thinking, which is actually the, every teacher's like ultimate goal, that students should have these independent thinking skills, decision making, having a stance on a social moral issue based on which a student can write something, building an argument, counter argument, or a rebuttal, judging a belief system, or developing a moral code of conduct, something is right or wrong. And so, but all these skills, all these mental abilities can suffer when students rely on AI tools a lot. So, and here, many AI generated responses actually lack this nuance, the subtle difference of shades of meaning and expressions, detailed fact checking and reflecting upon like underlying biases. Because of that, we find a lot of gaps in understanding of students, in understanding of their work. Before moving on further, let's have a comparison between what happens in a traditional classroom and what happens in a tech-driven classroom or AI-driven classroom. So a traditional classroom is based on person-to-person interaction, where there's a lot of control because that human interaction on academic misconduct. So, and traditional classrooms are actually based on long-standing traditions of academic principles and rules which have been developed for years, and they are mutually respected by the teacher and the learner. And there's certain tools like rubrics, universal standards, exams, group projects, academic writing, essays, through which we can judge. We can judge how a student is going on in his or her learning journey, learning path. With all these things, academic misconduct can still happen, and like it happens all the time, but we have checks and balances there, which are like more in person, which are communicated like verbally and with written assessment. Now, let's go to the AI-driven classroom. Now here, academic behavior is hard to check, and the struggling students find ways to reach academic standards because they're working with the screens, and then like sometimes it's not easy to see what's happening on the other side. Distractions can happen, and then to control academic misconduct and distraction, different organizations have to adapt or adopt non-traditional methods, and some of these methods are costly. Cameras, online exam proctoring systems, plagiarism checkers, LMS portals, sometimes with special features like LMS, which can control web browser access or disable cut and paste options. And with that, within this situation, academic misconduct can still happen, or it happens more than the traditional classroom. So having this background in mind, let's move further. Any questions so far? All right, okay, so I can move on. Let me just have a quick look on this chat box. All right, okay, so far we are good. So let's move on. I can't wait. All right, okay. So with having all these ideas defined, with having all all this background about concerns and three concepts of what is text construct, what is learner's agency, and all these points defined. Let's see what is plagiarism with AI, or is it plagiarism with AI? So teachers, administrators, and policymakers themselves are they're divided on this question, that whether using AI is plagiarism in its traditional technical term, or is it ghostwriting? So in Asia Call Conference proceedings from 2023, more than 400 teachers who were presenters and attendees, they participated in a survey, and the results of the survey show that they're equally divided on that question. Some of them called it ghostwriting. Another half of them called it plagiarism. Then we have this recent research which says that AI is not a human. So it's just a tool. So it may or may not be considered as plagiarism. We are going to see more details on that. Now, what is ghostwriting? So AI can serve as a ghostwriter in two different ways. First of all, through automated writing. Automated writing is where AI takes over the whole writing process from start to finish. And it could involve natural language processing, which goes on in the algorithms of AI programs or softwares to understand an author's style and ideas, and then it generates text that imitates, that copies that style. It takes all these ideas from your prompts. The more detailed prompt, the more focused or personalized is going to be the response. Or automated writing in terms of ghostwriting could involve taking a set of data points and turning them into a narrative, as some AI systems are already doing that. So you provide the data to an AI tool, and the data has all the details of what you need, and then you completely rely on the AI tool to create the whole text for you. This is automated. Next type of ghostwriting is human assisted. This is where AI helps an author with specific tasks related to the writing, but does not take over the entire process. For example, AI system could help an author brainstorming the ideas or the research or edit their work, or it can find out the problematic areas and give some suggestions. Sorry. Now, some software programs only use simple rules to find errors and suggest corrections. The other ones, they move beyond. They give more suggestions, more ideas, and some of them even suggest some other published works. So AI system would be able to understand context and offer more nuanced suggestions. So now by having these two ideas about related to plagiarism, whether it is ghostwriting or plagiarism, we have to consider beyond the traditional practice of plagiarism. Now, the problem is not just plagiarism or copying; it's more serious than that because it is related to the overall critical thinking skills of the students and the learners. When these critical thinking skills are hurt, or when these are eroded, then the problem is more serious than just plagiarism. It's a lifelong kind of problem, lifelong issue, which needs to be addressed right now. So now let's see why it is the plagiarism, or why it is considered plagiarism. Because it is hard to quote. It's difficult to quote. There is no authorship, and the AI outputs are iterative. With every next prompt, the AI will generate a new response for you, which is going to be slightly different from the last one. So, which one a student needs to quote? And then the ambiguity of original thought. As we understand, the basics of algorithms is that the algorithm connect all the dots with all the available data in the background, and then it comes up, it builds a kind of text which covers all the elements related to that prompt, taken from different sources, and then it generates a kind of complete text which looks very human, which looks very logical and full of logical reasoning and organized. But again, we never know how much of that is original. Which one comes from which source? It's not clear. So it makes it really, really difficult to determine what constitutes a quote and how we should do that. And then the version control issues are there, which, as AI generates multiple versions of the same question, it can generate more than 10. So it's going to be difficult in citing the specific outcomes. And the ethical concerns have been there right from the beginning, since we have been having these AI tools in our use. So when these sources cannot be quoted, cited, or acknowledged clearly, a lot of misrepresentation can happen. And here is another reason why it is hard to quote from AI or quote an AI-generated text. A lot of you have seen this news report that the New York Times sued OpenAI and Microsoft over AI use of their copyrighted work. So they noticed that a lot of responses of OpenAI or ChatGPT were actually taking the content from their articles, editorials, opinion pieces, which were actually created by the team of their editors and writers. And the New York Times paid for that. It was a paid content. And now, with the help of the money wall, New York Times makes money from the readers who actually access these editorials and content and all that. Same thing happened with Forbes. So these two companies had problems with the AI bots, AI tools, which were using their content freely and without giving any credit. without citing them. So now we have come to this point that it's not easy. It's not easy to, to quote them. So how to detect that this content or this part is from AI? So we have to look for the inconsistencies. Style, tone, structure can be different. It can be inconsistent. Changes can be there in style, in tone. Some ideas can be repeated. Some sentences can be like repeated word for word, or some phrases or sentences can have a lot of repetition. And then some word choices can be unusual or uncommon words, which typically do not appear in a person's own original writing. And sources, very few AI tools actually mention the sources. So what we can do, we can check the sources. If that source is there in an AI generated text, well and good, but mostly as it is generated by a software, it's very hard. It's very hard to check the sources, and a lot of AI tools do not give in-depth sources. If there are, they're just surface levels. You can use plagiarism checkers, see if it is written by AI, but a lot of recently a lot of plagiarism checkers cannot detect it. That is another issue. Finally, we have to do the manual analysis. We have to do the manual analysis of the content that help identify instances of AI-generated content. For example, if the content is focused on a very specific topic or niche, it's very focused, very narrowed. It may be, and so it's so narrowed, so specific that it moves away from the topic itself. So it may be more likely to be generated by AI. Or what we can do, we can ask AI to detect if a certain type of text is generated by AI, and a lot of teachers have started doing that. So with all these areas defined, how to make students aware of that. What we can do, we can use checklists. And this is what I do. I use a lot of checklists, and I give it to my students when they're finished with their essay, and I ask them to honestly see what they have done, what they have not done, what they have accomplished, what they're missing. Can they explain it? Do they understand the content, all the information there? Do they understand the policy, the university? And can they defend it? And there are a lot of other issues that I have added in my checklists. So what's the purpose of this? That we don't want AI tools to remove hurdles in students' learning pathways. Our job is not to make this academic rigor to be moved, or making it ironed out all for the students. So we need to encourage our students to verify their sources. We need to ask them to question AI sources, AI generated content, reinforce the use of credible information, build a habit of fact checking. There are some more ideas. This is what we can do in person. We have to bring these issues into our discussion in the classroom. We have to explore where AI tools succeed, where they fall short, and we have to make our students able to recognize that AI's knowledge is limited, and we need to bring this thing into realization that whatever context, depth, or human judgment is lacking, they need to check it out. We need to give them these tools, check AI tools. Another point is that we need to help our students to review their output, identify inaccuracies, concerns, or bias, develop a critical eye, and the idea that AI should be questioned and evaluated and not just passively accepted. And students need to go beyond academic integrity. They need to talk about like potential privacy issues, and we need to encourage students to reflect on implications of taking all the ideas from AI and working with that. And we need to foster a reasonable, a responsible mindset. And here we are moving towards the end. In the beginning, I shared with you Dr. Sarah's point of view that like AI is going to be norm. AI generated text is going to be the norm. It's going to be accepted. And so what she believed that it's going to be futile to find out that this portion is generated by AI and this portion is human. So taking this further, 3 of her colleagues who have been following her work, they developed another level of taxonomy, and they applied it on AI tools, AI generated content. And here it is. So for the very basic level, we need to teach about plagiarism. For the purpose of making students understand, we need to discuss with students like, well, how is plagiarism compared to paraphrasing, quoting, and other tools which can save them from copying texts. In application, students can explore. We need to teach them how to explore real-world examples. At the stage of analyzing, we need to teach students like how to do referencing, citations, and how to do it responsibly. At the level of evaluation, we need to teach students how to use AI in a responsible way and practice where and when to cite and where to explain that how much content or how much help has been sought from AI tools. And at the highest level of proficiency, we need to teach that is the level of creating content. We need to teach students how to create guidelines, agreements, rubrics for their own essays, co-creating rubrics with students where students reflect that what should be analyzed, how it should be analyzed, what kind of grader should be graded for human effort and for the AI content. And here are some of the recommendations. We need to focus on process, not just product, like brainstorming, drafting, revising, reflecting. These can be the little windows that we can open for students to use AI, but not the main part of creating the first draft or drafting the main essays, main compositions. Secondly, we can integrate AI as a tool for analysis and revision. Before we go to the end product, we can use AI tools to analyze text, identify areas for improvement, back, rather than generating entire pieces of writing. Next point is designing assignments that require critical thinking. And here I would like to share some of my experiences that I have recently used, adopted. What I've done for every essay, I asked my students to create a Google form as a part of survey questionnaire and distribute it, and then take you know outcomes from there, and then integrate them into their writing and see if their idea goes along with public opinion. So students found it really interesting that they were not copying for anything from Google or from they were generating their own questions. They're creating data themselves, their own original data. It helped them a lot. Uh, these the level where I am teaching, it's not like research-based kind of essays. Students are in their pre-university courses where they learn to write the base. They start from the basics and then they move on to paragraph and essay and different types of writing, like how to write a summary, how to paraphrase, how to summarize. But there, in the essay part, I have been actively trying to generate more human element, which requires less and less reliance on AI tools, like surveys, like taking an article from a publication not from highly, complicated or complex level research papers, but from newspapers like New York Times or Forbes or Time Magazine or something like that, or Arab News, Saudi Gazette, something like that. And then I ask them to take ideas from there, and let's see how you integrate into your draft. And then the last 2 points here, we need to promote metacognitive reflection. So for that, what I do, I ask students to give 3 minutes presentation based on their essay and explain what they have done. And fostering a culture of academic integrity. So this we do as a part of an agreement that students have to sign at the beginning of every term. We have started doing like last term because of a lot of incidents of AI generated text in students writing. The management came up with the student contract, where students have to sign it. And first they have to discuss it with the teacher, which says that if there are 3 instances of this kind of assistance, overall, like assistance from AI, where AI is generating the whole text, then students will have to repeat that level. They will get no grades for that level. So this is one way that we have been like forcing students to adopt academic integrity. But again, during our training sessions, we have been told to discuss these things at least like 3 times in the beginning, in the middle, and towards the end of a term with students, that how they can keep and manage and maintain academic integrity. And here at the end, I would like to share 2 sources. These are 2 open source books, Teaching with AI and AI Activities and Resources for English Language Teachers by Nick Peachy. I use the activities books a lot. It's a wonderful source. It is divided into 4 sections, I think. Yeah, one for generating the activities for students which actually diminish or which actually decrease this risk of plagiarism. Second section is about lesson plans. Third one is for teachers, prompts for teachers. And the last one is for teachers' professional development. It's really nice. It's very handy. And like the instructions, the details are very short, bite size. Like you can take one activity within in less than 5 minutes, and you can apply it in the class like this. And with that, we come to an end to this session. I hope I have been able to address all the questions that I shared in the beginning. And here I would like to end with this quote. To steal ideas from one person or AI is plagiarism, but to steal from many is research, but with credit, with referencing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Fayaz, for this wonderful presentation. And the quote or the sentence is very funny, but it's also ironic and so true.
It is. It is.
There is a very fine line between plagiarism that is blatant and intentional, and research that is more integrative and acknowledges other people's work. And this is where I think the English writing instruction and the skills come in, and the challenge for us as instructors as well. I love the presentations, a lot of questions in there that I grapple with as lecturer of English writing as well. Um, I have a lot of questions just for dialogue, but we'll keep it very short. I know that the session is supposed to be very only 1 hour, but it's up to you, Fayez, and the audience as well, whether you want to engage a little bit further in a dialogue or not. But I had fun listening to this. It's very thought-provoking. I'll keep the and thank you very much for sharing the books at the end. Like that's helpful. I'll look into these. I had no idea of them before. So I'll look into these. Yeah, for everybody that needs to leave, thank you for showing up. This is I hope this was very also thought-provoking for you as it was for me. I think you answered all of the questions that I had as I was listening to you, Fayaz. But like the one thing that I think would be wonderful if you kind of reflect on it with me. Like, how do you engage in conversations in class with the students about the ethical considerations when it comes to AI, using it as either for writing or as a writing assistant or as a tool? And how do you receive their engagement in that kind of dialogue? Are they shy away from it? Are they scared? Yeah.
Great question. Thank you so much. On the first day of the term, we have 8 weeks term, and within the 8 weeks, according to the new syllabus, the students have to write 4 to 5 essays. So on day one for me and for my students is just for discussion. So I shared just 2 or 3 points with them, like within this course, inside this classroom, what is your role? I ask my students. What is my role as a teacher? And what is the role of AI? So, and then the whole discussion moves around these things, these 3 important points. So the students get into a discussion with that, and then that discussion like goes from like a long range of topics, like those things like those topics include like in-class behavior, how much time students need to get involved with the writing, selection of topic, how much work they can do at home, how much work they can, or what kind of work they have to do inside the classroom. And it also goes into other things like what they have to read to work, to fulfill their role, what they expect from me, and how much they can rely on AI. So along with that contract that I was just talking about, it becomes a kind of two-way of letting students know that what is expected from them. And also for me, it's an opportunity for me as well, that what they're expecting from me. So it's a kind of mutual understanding what we can expect from each other. Another point, another thing that a lot of teachers at my workplace have started doing, and I'm also doing that, is co-constructing rubrics with students. So what we do, we give students some criterion, and we ask students that what they want to add, what they want to see in the rubric, and how they want their own work to be judged by the teacher, be evaluated, and how much weightage each part should get. It's a bit of discussion. Um, of course, like very slow in the beginning, because students, like when they have to talk about their own assessment, their own evaluation of their own work, and when they have to think, like they have to contemplate on that it is actually their work that they're going to talk about how to assess. So it takes them a little bit time to come to this kind of discussion, but slowly, gradually, like they start coming up with some ideas that, okay, we can give this much focus on language, that we can give this much focus on idea. Okay, what if the idea is not original? What if the idea comes from AI? How to how to assess that? How to evaluate that? So these three things work a lot with that.
Yeah,
As
that's sorry.
I just want to add one more thing here. During an 8 weeks term, what I'm supposed to do, like every reading and writing teachers is supposed to do at least 10 journals in the class. These journals are 20 minutes writing, free writing, without considering any, or without taking into consideration the organization, the choice of words or spelling or something like that. So what we have these two things to compare and contrast always, like what students do in their essay, which they do as a project, and what they do in their journal. So we can check the discrepancies, we can see the gaps in their original writing, which they do without any external help, and what they do after the process, like brainstorming and mind mapping, outlining, and all that. So there's always something which students can themselves see where they're heading. If they are relying too much on AI, like I can always show them, and I can always discuss them with their work in front of them that, okay, this is what you have done here in a journal, and this is what's happening in your essay. So could you explain? Something like that.
And I'm pretty sure it's not an easy conversation to have, especially with learners of English as a foreign language. Like that's intimidating for them, but it's also something maybe stigmatized. So there's also this, like as instructors, we're also, I think, being challenged with like how to have these healthy conversations and set these boundaries with the students. But at the same time, we don't want to stigmatize too much on the use of AI because this is where these kinds of conversations that you're trying to model to us with the students kind of spark and provoke their own critical thinking or allow them to use their critical thinking for their own themselves and their own use of AI. Like, is this good for me? Is this healthy for me to depend that much or rely that much on AI in my own writing? Like, is this helping me learn or is it actually inhibiting me to learn over the long term? So that's also a critical thinking layer of engaging in these dialogues with the students. So I appreciate sharing this with us actually. The last question that I'm really interested to know your perspective and experience on, and then I think if anybody else has any question, you can drop it in the chat. I'm curious how you think of using AI for curriculum design. I know you mentioned you mentioned a little bit on the rubric and experimenting with some of the generative paragraphs and to see how the students analyze that, engage with it. But in terms of the actual curriculum in class, for you as a lecturer and instructor, how do you think how do you think of that possibility of using AI as an assistant to polish the curriculum in terms of to meet the needs of the students at this day and age?
I would like to say that because as I have been working in my workplace for more than like 10 years now, and so the curriculum that we receive as instructors is a very loose kind of, you can say that outline or guideline, which says that students should do, for example, argumentative essay. Okay, they should be able to, by the end of this course, they should be able to think critically. They should be able to have original ideas. They should be able to develop concepts, explain them, defend them, describe them, and so on and so on. So within that, there's a lot of freedom for teachers to choose texts, to design activities. But then we also have the set number of writings, the set number of readings that we have to do within one term. So keeping these things in mind, what me and my colleagues do, that we take this freedom that we don't have textbooks, we don't have exams, we don't have to prepare students for exams. It is like whatever we have to assess, it has to be based on 4 or 5 essays that students write. So whatever grade we have to give, it has to be based on that. So within those parameters, what we have a lot of freedom. We have freedom to design, develop exercises, activities, and like I remember like 10 or 7 years ago, like when we didn't have this kind of AI tools available, and we didn't have a lot of confidence on relying on these tech tools to generate text for us. So every teacher, all of my colleagues used to have all those textbooks to take text from their activities, from their exercises, from there, and so on and so on. Some of them, very few of them, used to generate text from like exercises from their own. But now, a lot of us are using the AI generated exercises, activities, and for my own experience, well, what I can say that in the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes when I started working, generating developing materials for my classes with the help of ChatGPT. But now within last 2 years, what we have seen publications from credibility sources, from authorities like Nick Beach and other writers. Now we have a lot of acceptance, and this acceptance is now on the level of publication. Like publishing houses are now considering it as another kind of textbooks that they can generate, that they can publish for teachers, for language instructors. So what I see is a higher level of confidence and a lot of new skills developing, where teachers can use these to fill up the curriculum demands, and develop their own syllabus, and like they're experimenting, and with their own experiments, what they're doing, they are combining it with a lot of content or suggestions, or which are available on internet now. So internet is assisting, making these things available to teachers, and teachers are it's a kind of collaboration with AI. I would like to say it's a kind of partnership with AI that they're doing, and they're generating a lot of materials. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think this is an ongoing dialogue for all institutions altogether. So I think where I'm thinking right now is like, yes, AI is very experimental for the instructors and for the development of the curriculum, but I think also there is an institutional level of responsibility of providing guidelines and even training for how to do that. Not only to avoid mistakes, because it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, it's very healthy to make mistakes
Yeah.
in the beginning with experimenting like a tool like ChatGPT and others. And this is how learning happens, and this is what we want to model for the students as well. But I think also like I think there needs to be an institutional layout of training on how to use these tools. Like, what's the potential? Because it's not only ChatGPT. There are lots of other things that actually can assist with developing curriculum that is more timely, concise, but also speaks to the students' needs as they learn. So yeah, I think this is very healthy for me to listen to. So thank you very much, Fayaz. I want to.
I would just like to add one point here.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you. I haven't seen a lot from the like management or from institutes in terms of changes in the syllabus. What we have done so far, like last year, particularly last year, that we came up with some new projects. Like during those meetings and trainings that were actually arranged by the institute. Uh, Now, the need for those new projects was actually the need came out of this understanding that a lot of students are using these AI tools. So we need to come up with the projects where students can have more human element in their work, and teachers can have more leverage in terms of like look, seeing that students do not rely much or beyond a certain level to their, especially in their writing courses on AI tools. So with that in mind, we came up with some ideas about new projects. But beyond that, I haven't seen a lot of changes in the policy making, in the policy level, that how much content teachers can use from AI, from textbooks, from their own sources, and how much content that can be original or something like that. But I think things are changing now. And I think this is the first step that we came up with new projects, new ideas. Let's see, more things will come up.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think this is why
So,
these spaces are important for us so that we can keep up with the changes across the globe, wherever
Yeah.
each one of us works, and to see the different perspectives from the instructors, but also from the management or the leadership level as well, and the students' experiences with it. I would like to check.
can I?
Yeah.
I also have to cut you off. This is only 1 to 2 minutes max. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
I. It was great, Mr. Fayaz. Thank you. It was really
Thank you.
awesome. It is just a thought that I would like to share.
Mhm.
Um, it is a snowball. It started rolling down the mountain. End of maybe I don't know when, but it AI tools in general will be there to last.
Yeah.
I mean, the need. I was just like when you were talking about how to detect AI, like you check for repetitions and then you see the style, structured sentences, and also absence of references. With the time, I have noticed, like in the past 2 years, now they started with new AI tools that will help you with that.
Mm.
So it goes on and on with the new AI tech tools that will help. The way personally I would look at it, um, maybe we can turn this foe or enemy into a friend,
Yeah.
and then like you did, which was great, by opening it up with the students, using it, but wisely, and in a good way. Like for that referencing thing, when what I notice, at least from colleagues in, when they do research and stuff, so they wouldn't ask ChatGPT to generate text. They would they would do that, but then they will go to another tool which is called
Okay.
AI, and then they would provide a text provided by ChatGPT, and then
Hmm.
ask the AI to provide actual authentic resources,
All
and
right.
then they work with that, which I see no harm, to be honest,
Mm.
because they kind of land their ideas and then they work on that extensively. So they bring references, then they provide that to another tool, which is called the Chat PDF. Chat
Okay.
PDF, you provide the PDF, the article, or let's say, and then you started chatting with the tool about that article.
Okay.
Finalize my participation here, like a minute ago, I was looking into a contract that I have for my apartment here in the US, which is 47 pages. So all I did is all I uploaded that PDF to chat PDF, and then I started conversing with it, seeing
Okay.
where the office went wrong, asking us to do this, to do that, while it was there in the contract. Now I just can't imagine how much time would I use to go through the contract,
Mm.
which is
Mm.
full of legal, jargon
Terminology
that
and all that.
that
Yeah.
I don't really understand. So it
Mm.
started to, show me all the steps, step by step, show me all the stuff. What I want to say, it is there to stay. What we need to do is just become a friends, maybe, with it. And
Exactly.
yeah. And thank you. It was great. Awesome. And thanks, Miss Ala.
Thank you so much. That's the point. That's the point that that as new tools are going to come up, and it's very fast. The AI is developing very, very fast. So what we have to do, we have to develop new skills. We have to develop new ideas, new concepts of integration and connecting. It's like I don't know if it is multimodality. Yes, that we need to combine and work with multiple models together, and then we have to work out our way through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It is ongoing and it's an ongoing dialogue and it's AI is not going anywhere. So I think it's very, very healthy for everybody and constructive to engage in these practices and experimentation with it as well. Thank you, Fayez, for your time today. I really learned a lot and that was very helpful for me as an instructor also. Thank you everybody for showing up today. I want to check in for
Thank you.
last time. Does anybody have anything to say? Any question before we stop the recording and end the meeting today? For demand, because you just joined us, Lamia will be posting the recording on the Facebook page for the Cafe Without Borders, and hopefully you'll be able to catch up and review the recording all together. It was a very beautiful conversation and dialogue that we had with Fayez today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fayez, again for your time. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks, everybody, today, and I'll stop the recording right now.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.